But taking the pictures, that's the next thing. Is I've taught many people how to do this. There's a whole group at MUFON in Kansas City that know how to do this now. I've actually set up my camera and shown them how to do this. I have a video online on my YouTube channel. That's all I've got out there now, and it shows you how to do this and what you have to prepare yourself for, okay? It's Beyond Watching One is my YouTube channel, and I have a whole video that shows all of this and how to step through it and what you need to do. And part of it is you have to be able to prepare your mind. You have to prepare your mind, your third eye, as I call it, and use mental thought and ask for them to show themselves.
So I started taking the videos, and I would sit and I would connect and I'd prepare. Well, then I got a little cocky, like, oh yeah, they're always there. I got nothing for 2 weeks.
Nothing. Yep.
And you asked me, have you connected? No. Mm-hmm. And I did the next time, and they
did. They show up.
Because they don't know you're there.
Right. Well, at first, I think they made a lot of sightings to get me to awake and to match up with my dreams. When they told me I would start having these experiences, because I was the hardcore engineering kind of guy. Yeah, I laughed it off. I said, this just can't be real. But then when you look back, okay, like I said, my near death at the age of 15, seeing a thing light up the whole car, and it's like, how can you explain that? And then I'm the only one that remembers it the next morning, the next day. Yeah, that didn't add up. And so I put all of that together.
Do you do that too? Like make a map? I will write it out and start looking for the. Yeah.
Well, I did patterns. That. I wrote a book about this, and I just called it a journal because I had to go back and start from the beginning and wrote a life journal up to that point when all of this started to make a little bit more sense. But the part I didn't understand is that I had to ask later for them to show themselves. At first, they were showing me. I mean, they just show up when I didn't want them to show up in the sky. I could see them with my sunglasses on. Very few times do I always have to have my sunglasses on. I can see them without it, but usually there's too much light in the daytime. I don't ever see them at night because I guess I just don't have enough vision or night vision to do that the older I've gotten. But in the daytime, if it's a clear day, I can see them. I can guarantee I know where to look just because of intuition. And that's the other thing is I kept going along in this 10-year period. I would have premonitions. I'd just be sitting there watching television, and I'd have to tell the wife, I got to go outside and take a picture. This is in the afternoon. I got to go. I always had my cameras fully charged, and I could go out and I'd stand there, but it's like someone was tapping me on the shoulder, just like this on the shoulder, and say, Bill, it's time to come out and look. And that's what would happen. But I know what you're talking about, because for weeks sometimes I would go out there, and there'd be, if I forced it, it didn't happen. But if I asked, then they would show themselves. And that's when I put the whole consciousness level together. And then I call it visual thought, okay? You don't realize it, but we can manipulate the conscious field enough, just closing our eyes and getting a mental picture, and I call it visual thought. And I tracked an orb, for instance, one time with my camera. I could see it. I didn't take too many. I took some pictures, but I actually tracked an orb that I could see moving in the sky away from the sun and followed it around. And then I closed my eyes, and I instantly was teleported into the orb, moved this gray out of the way, and mentally took over, because I know how to drive one of these with my mind. And part of it is because I used to fly airplanes. I knew what it looked like to be in the air and to look 360, because it's like you're 360. You have a complete shield of energy around you, and you can control it, and you can look up or down. It's kind of like being in a turret, and you can control this. And you say, I want to go over there, and you look and you go. That's how they do this. That's how they control this. Then I step back out. It's almost like you're dreaming, and I'm standing here on the ground doing this, but I have my camera in my right hand ready to go, and somehow I'm tracking this orb again, and it's breaking up in the sky, going from east to west, breaking up, falling apart, because I took it out of control. Because at that point, I'd already had my car messed up. the negative ones tried to mess up my little car. Like in the movie where you'll see things like your car horns will start going off and on, the lights will flash. That happened to me the morning I was going to go show my mom and dad this and start telling them the story. And I had about a 100-mile drive, and I left that morning, and it was raining, and my windshield wipers quit working. My lights went on and off. The car horn was going off and on. And then finally I had to stop on the side of the road. I said a prayer, but I basically said, okay, this is going to stop. And my energy, we're not going to have this happen. And then everything stopped and went normal. Now, I made it up there, showed my mom and dad, and it was the first time I came out about it, okay, in 2010. It was in the spring of 2010. And they became aware of it. And I took my laptop and everything with me. But what's interesting is the electrical system in my car was like somebody took an electromagnetic impulse strike to it and messed up the wiring in it. Ford Motor Company didn't know what to do about it. They'd never seen damage like this with the alternator and the electrical system in a car.
You probably did. That's exactly what you did.
Yeah, they tried to stop me from going and showing other people. That was the first people that I reached out to outside of my wife knowing about it, is with my parents. Because if you can't convince your parents, you're not going to convince anybody. You know what I mean? They're your worst critic. But they can do it and to see what they would think. But that was how they tried to stop me. And I basically proved that you can project either negative thought or positive thought. That started to tell me and prove my theory that you can control these craft and these beings. They don't have any power over you, because some people are afraid of them. They were afraid of it. And Margie, that's not long after I met Margie Kay, okay? And we ate lunch with her, and I explained this to her because she'd had some bad negative experiences. The next time around, she took control of the situation with her thought. She didn't get into that. You might want to talk to her about that and bring that up sometime. But she basically, after I explained to her what happened and how I figured this out, is that after that point, I've been untouchable. My computers didn't mess up anymore. All of my data has always been saved. My cameras always work. My cars always work. I always make it where I'm supposed to be, and nothing stopped me. And that was at the point where I realized what was going on, that you can control, and they don't have, as long as you live in ignorance, you're just ignorant of it, you're going to have these things bother you. And that's why I have to warn people, when you start taking the videos, like you started, you may want to get into that a little bit. Weird things started happening, didn't it?
Yes, it did. For example, my oven, the board went out. And I thought, I guess the board went out. This seems really odd. But the light would come on. So it just went completely black. We had our alarm went off, and our house alarm, security went off, couldn't turn it off. Fire department came, police came, everybody came. It's like, it's fine. And we just could not. I mean, you just type in a code and it turns off. Wouldn't turn off. What else? There were a few other things that happened too, and they were all electrical.
Yep.
They were just annoying, and it was And I mean, I have issues often with my stuff, but I'm telling you, I don't think this was supposed to happen. I think you and I were supposed to talk.
Right. This is all.
I almost wouldn't be shocked if this doesn't record. I mean,
it's gonna. It'll work. Everything's gonna work out.
That's true.
I knew it was, because I already knew because I've already seen what you're gonna put together. I already know.
You have?
Yes, I already know what you're gonna do.
Okay.
Well, I've noticed that after I had that experience where I figured out that there's visual thought. It's the consciousness. It's your third eye. Basically, it's your third eye, and you can leave your body. You can physically leave your body mentally and project yourself somewhere else, which gets into that quantum physics aspect of it. And once I understood how to do that, that's when I took control of that, like I said, the craft. I've got pictures of the craft in sequence, 10 sequence pictures, because I didn't run the video then. I just held the camera that'll go in sequence. And other craft have to come to its aid. It's falling apart like a meteorite blowing apart. And it's making a vapor trail over my house. I don't know how other people can't see this. My neighbors have seen some of this because the first time that I've actually got a full video of a white orb moving around in the sky, my neighbor and I he was across the street, stood on his driveway, and we saw all this happening. And he happened to have the sunglasses on. A huge bright orb came over and stopped about 200 feet in the air over my house, and we both pointed up at it, and it was so bright it looked like a welding torch tip. It was that bright. And it just came to a sudden stop, sat there for about 15 seconds while both of us watched it, and I was afraid to pick up my camera and take a picture of it because I figured if I looked through the camera lens, I might lose my eyesight or something. It was that bright, and both of us looked at it, and we're like, this is something else. And then it just shot off to the north and vanished. And then I run over to my other neighbor. He was out there, and I said, Mark, this is crazy. Did you see any of that? And he says, what? And I said, well, this thing flew over our house, and we both saw it. My other neighbor saw it. And come to find out, the thing appears out of nowhere. And then he saw it after I handed him the sunglasses. He could see it, and it went north again and then turned east like at a 90-degree angle. And he's like, wow. Now, since then, I've talked to everybody, and they've seen more of my pictures, so they know what's going on because I've had many years of a decade here to figure all this out. So this has been a long growing process of informing people what is going on. And I guess that's what it comes down to. Now, did you want to go into how to take the photos?
Yes, and I should put something together.
That's the next thing that I think most people ask, okay, we understand now, how do we go do this? Because some people have always been interested once you show them the videos or the still photos I've taken, and it just amazes everybody that you can see as much detail by just blocking the sunlight. Basically, I block the sunlight.
Well, and I have to say that I have had issues with using here we go, my camera, but I don't know my camera well.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm putting it behind me, and I will put this in, I'll drop it in the video.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep, I set up the camera. This is in my backyard, and I use a tripod, and I use my smaller camera. I have my smaller camera. It looks like this, okay? I do have a bigger 35 millimeter, but this one's the easiest one to use. And I set up the camera, and I aim just at the edge of the guttering on my house to block out the sun. Okay? Right. I usually do this between noon and 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Works the best for me. And then I go in and I just hold the camera because I can take video or stills on constant setting, and it just snaps away. And then you go back and review it. But many times I can see in real time when something flashes into the picture because I keep my flip screen out, and I can see it in real time. And what I use is a lens that I took out of one of my extra pair of sunglasses, and I taped it over it so I don't have to mess with that. I keep it taped over it so it's already on the camera. And I can take pictures one after another, and then I go back through and see on the card, I read the card and see if anything's there, and 99% of the time there's always something there. And other times I take video with my bigger camera.
Oh, wow.
I'll take video. It's a Kodak. It's a Pix Pro camera, and I set it on the video setting because it takes really, really good video. And that's when I start to see all of the things. Then I go through a video editor, and then I can grab out screen grabs out of the video, and then get the pictures, and then show the videos also.
And I know that, and you have to zoom in to 50. I mean, and again, I'll put this up, or you can go to his website or his YouTube channel.
Yeah. And
it is not what I do. You want to hear what I do?
Yes.
And by the way, Bill, they do have the polarized lenses too that you can screw on the end. And I have one, but That is the key right there. I mean, for me, I zoom in with my iPhone. Same thing. I carry around at all times.
Yep.
I have the flip case on the iPhone that I put my cards in, and I just popped out a lens of a pair of cheap sunglasses that are polarized. That's the key.
Polarizing it.
And so I can wedge it, and I carry it with me everywhere. My kids are so frustrated with me. Every time they turn around, I'm taking pictures. And I have found things all times of the day, really.
Yes,
it is,
yes. They're all there.
And I don't see them with my eyes at all.
Right.
But and it's what's really weird is that sometimes I go back and I see nothing. I'll go back again and I'll get things.
And you'll find it. Yeah. And the videos you've sent me. Now, I have done the same thing with my iPhone. Where I've gone out and I hold another lens. I've got one I can hold over my iPhone, and I can get the same results you're getting with an iPhone. I never thought about using the iPhone, except I have on occasion. Now, as you learn to do this, then you'll start to sense, though, in the daytime when other craft fly over your house. Like I think I sent you one where 3 craft, the gray craft flew over my house on April 27th. While I'm out there, I happen to have the phone with me, and it was a gorgeous Saturday afternoon. And of course, I was out checking the temperatures on my smoker. I was smoking chicken out on it, so I'm out there checking on it. Then I have my phone because it has a Bluetooth device for the temperature, but I was making sure it was all working okay. And I'm out there, and 3 craft just flew over my house, and I happened to get one picture off. By the time I got the video or the picture setting, activated, so I can even see the craft now just fly over the house. And it's usually when I'm interested in something, because you're gonna think this is funny. It's always when I'm intrigued about something or I'm learning something new, because I'm just learning how to do the smoking in a little smoker. So I'm learning how to do this, and this is when things show up, is when I'm learning new things, okay, on how to do something. And it's like a bunch of curious kids coming to check up on you.
What are you doing, Bill?
Yeah, what are you doing? Yeah, that's exactly what it's like. And once I could see them fly over the house, and I only got the one picture. And I wish I just wasn't fast enough with my phone, but I got one really good picture that you can see the 3 craft in. And they came over at about 200 feet over my house. The largest one was about, I'd say, 20 to 30 feet in diameter. The 2 smaller ones were about 10 feet in diameter.
How do you see that? Okay, I'm trying to see if I have.
It's like they move so fast. I say fast. It's kind of about the speed of a bird flying.
Okay, did y'all see that? Look at this. Okay. Hold on. And I'm sorry, I was trying to figure out how to do this. My 10-year-old set this up. I was trying to figure out how to. I can always zoom it on an iPhone or an iPad. Hold on. You'll see it quickly go that way. There.
Yep.
And so I was trying to do still. Let's see. Come on. And I have to figure out how to blow them up.
Yeah, that's the thing. Now, I usually, to really see them well, I've had to take them, download them, and I go through a movie editing program I have, and go through it.
Do you know?
It was an older Microsoft product that I use. I would have to go look on my computer, but I don't want to upset the video. But it used to be one of the freebies you could download, but there's other video editors that you can download that are still free, and then you can do screen grabs, and you can go just frame by frame by frame, real slow, and you can see the objects as they appear. But yeah, I've checked all of your videos out, and they're the real thing.
I just think that's wild. Yeah. I mean, and I can't tell you how many times I've texted you and I've said, I don't know. I think it's a bug. I think it's a.
No, they're not.
It's not a bug, and it's. But again, they're just so tiny.
I just saw one of it flash up there, in the. It'd be on the. If I'm facing the screen, it'd be on my left.
So there was another one.
I just saw a little flash. Yep.
Oh. Okay, so I will put that in. There. Okay, so there's that one, and you explained why they look like black with bug wings, but
Yeah.
they're not.
Yeah. It's the energy field around them.
Yes.
That what looks like a bug, the wings are really the energy fields. They're looped. They make these loops, and that's where they actually can affect space-time. They actually have electrical energy field. It's an electromagnetic process, and part of it deals with light, the frequency of light. Also, it deals with that and the frequency that they're operating in, and that is what you're seeing is the energy field that they're projecting. And they look like, sometimes when they appear, that you'll just see a little flash of light and they'll just appear out of nowhere.
Yeah.
That's what they look like.
There's one up there in the screen up there.
Yeah.
And you can really see them. They look like, but when they're expanded, you can see them, and they come in and they go out. I mean, they.
Yep. Well, those Margie Kay and I, we call them the fast flyers because they move so fast. Okay, they move very, very fast. And yeah, that video that you sent me, the last one that you showed, has several of them in it. They're white, the white ones. Yep, and they look like what I have videos of.
And
now I have other videos that have other craft that look much more, I call them man-made or human-made, a human aspect to it in their design. They actually have windows in them. Oh, yeah. They have windows, black windows. And like I was explaining earlier, the ones that I saw coming around and picking up the small orbs had a tube sticking out of it that orbs would go into, and this thing had black windscreens on it. It had black windshields.
Black windshields?
Black windshields that it would move around in the sky, and I've got some good stills of it, zoomed in, really good detail. And it came around and went around the whole sky for an hour picking up orbs. Yeah. I followed it all through the sky for an hour. And I could see it through binoculars with my sunglasses on. And I got still pictures of it, and I took video of it. And it was deposited here by a large white ship that came tumbling out of the sky that I have in a free fall, and it just came off of it where it was embedded into a part of the ship. And then it came around and it went all the way around for about an hour picking up orbs. With me standing in my backyard. I witnessed this in 2010.
And how big did it look from where you were?
It was probably at about 4,000 to 5,000 feet in the air. So it was pretty small. It looked like a little bitty ball of white light or orange light moving around. And then when you zoom in to 36 times zoom, then you can see all the detail. Yeah, it's unbelievable.
So what do you think is next? I mean, I know it's getting this out there, and it's showing people, not to convince, but to become aware.
Awaken.
Again, using that.
Awaken. To awaken. Mm-hmm.
So what do you think, like, for example, for you, what do you think is next?
Well, for me, I believe that my job is to there's so many people to get out and get this message out to, that it's going to take another 5 to 6 years, I think, before enough people are going to have experiences. Have you seen some of the programs that people are following? Like, I don't want to mention anything on a cable channel, but there are a lot of things now coming out that the people that are attending things in Dallas, Texas, other major cities, people are starting to show up and they're raising their hand when it gets into the time of discussion. Well, have you had strange things happen? Are you aware of what's going on? And they're all like, yes.